Regular meeting of the Dickinson City Council to order. Item 1, call to order and certification of quorum.
Councilmember Simpson.
Here.
Councilmember Simpson.
Here.
Councilmember Wilson.
Here.
Mayor Skipworth.
Here.
Councilmember Brantley.
Here.
Councilmember Decker. Councilmember Decker.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Councilman Simpson, would you lead us in the invocation?
Let us pray. O Lord our God, how excellent is your name. From the rising of the sun to the going down of the same, your name is great and greatly to be praised. We thank you for every good and perfect gift that comes from above. We thank you for those who are here, those who are watching us online, and those who are en route, and those who cannot make it, Lord. We ask a blessing upon this meeting. We ask a blessing upon the elected officials, the staff, the citizens. We ask a blessing upon this city, this county, this state, and this great nation. Keep us all under your protecting care. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Please join me for the pledges. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now the Texas pledge.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. All right, we have two proclamations this evening. So the first one is for CDOG Inn. Do we have anyone here from there this evening? All right, if y'all would please come up to the front and I'll deliver the proclamation. Turn this around. Okay. I'll try. All right. Okay. All right. So a proclamation. Whereas Bayou Animal Services has undergone a facility upgrade that included removing old kennels and replacing them with state-of-the-art mid-mark kennels. Additionally, upgrades in climate control and other improvements have been made. Whereas CDOG Inn Pet Resort agreed to house Bayou Animal Services adoptable dogs during this time. Whereas CDOG Inn Pet Resort has served the boarding and grooming needs of pet owners for 30 years on their 2 peaceful country acres with 5 buildings, 98 dog runs, and 32 cat enclosures. CDOG Inn Pet Resort is one of the largest pet boarding facilities in the Bay Area. Whereas CDOG Inn has supported local pet rescue organizations for 24 years through their 501c3 called CDOG Saves. Whereas CDOG Saves' mission is to help homeless pets find new loving homes. This has been a tradition at CDOG Inn for 2 decades, and they are always willing to partner with Bayou Animal Services. Now, therefore, I, Sean Skipworth, Mayor of the City of Dickinson in the great state of Texas, do hereby proclaim March 14th, 2023 as CDOG Inn Pet Resort Day. In witness thereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of Dickinson, Texas to be affixed this 6th day of March, 2023.
Oh,
Please.
so cool. Thank you.
Thank you so much for what you did. It was fantastic, and we are so appreciative. And this is yours to keep.
Thank you
All
so
right.
much. I
You're welcome.
appreciate it.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh. All right, awesome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, we have another proclamation this evening, one that I'm honored to give, and for someone that I had the pleasure and the opportunity to meet for the last few years. So let me begin. A proclamation. Whereas Eleanor Ellie E. Childs, longtime Galveston County and Dickinson resident, passed away on February 20th, 2023. Ellie lived a life defined by her caring and helping others as a nurse, wife, mother, and community volunteer. Whereas, born in a log cabin in 1932 on her family's apple orchard farm in Ohio, Ellie grew and sold strawberries on her own part of the farm to earn money for her dream of becoming a nurse. After graduating from Anna High School in 1950, she enrolled at the Christ Hospital School of Nursing in Cincinnati, Ohio, and graduated as a registered nurse in 1953. Working as a pediatric nurse at John Seeley Hospital in Galveston, she fell in love with Texas and a Texan. Whereas Ellie worked as a full-time nurse at Shriners Burns Hospital for more than 20 years as a critical and intensive care pediatrics burns nurse, earning the Shriners Nursing Humanitarian Award in 1994. After retirement, Ellie remained active in the Houston-Galveston medical community, volunteering with Medical Bridges to recycle medical equipment for supply to medically underserved individuals and communities worldwide. She opened her home to many children with medical needs, as well as to international medical professionals from burn clinics and underserved communities. Whereas Ellie was also an active community service volunteer in this area for many years. While serving with the Friends of Dickinson Public Library, she provided books for U.S. prisons and for libraries in Nicaragua and India. She helped to establish Fort San Jacinto Historic Point at the end of the Galveston seawall. Working with Scenic Galveston, she helped to preserve the John O'Quinn estuary along I-45 and other properties in Galveston. Whereas Ellie tutored students at Hughes Road Elementary School, served on the Galveston County Public Health Board, taught life skills courses for the Galveston County Alcohol and Drug Abuse House, and volunteered at the Galveston Seafarers Center and the Galveston Garden Club. She was active for many years at Emerson Unitarian Universalist Church and Bay Area Unitarian Universalist Church. Now, therefore, I, Sean Skipworth, Mayor of the City of Dickinson and the great state of Texas, do hereby proclaim March 15th, 2023 as Eleanor Ellie E. Childs Day. In witness thereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of Dickinson, Texas, to be affixed the 7th day of March 2023. And I know we have some family here if you'd like to come up. All right, we'll move on to item 5, announcements and presentations. Announcements concerning items of community interest. No action will be taken or discussed. Council member comments regarding items of community interest in accordance with Texas Government Code Section 551.0415. Item 5A, council comments. Let's start with the pet of the month because the pet of the month seems very anxious over there. So let's go ahead and do that first.
Hi, I'm Nina, Bayou Animal Services. This is Roscoe. He's one of our tiniest tots at the shelter right now. Spring has definitely sprung at the shelter. We currently have 4 nursing mama cats, and this little one is the 11th puppy we've gotten in the last 2 weeks. So if you're interested in fostering or volunteering, now would be a great time to step up so we can get these babies out of the shelter until we can get them safe and vaccinated and into their forever homes. And that's it.
And I cannot imagine that puppy is going to be, not adopted within like 24 hours. So, all right. Well, we'll move to council comments. So we'll start with Councilman Litton. You'll have to follow up the puppy. So good luck.
Good evening, everybody. Council, Mayor. This one will be short. I had a real busy week at work. Crew 5 landed safely in Florida on Saturday, or actually, I believe it was it's that kind of weekend. Yeah, it was Saturday evening around 8 p.m. our time. So there had been a bit of drama over the past couple of weeks with the failure of one of the Soyuz modules, and so I've been working long hours. I also talked with the La Tolteca restaurant, and they had a parking issue related to the Chamber of Commerce, and I left a message for the president of Chamber of Commerce, and I need to follow up with her. Also, I need to follow up with 3 new contacts with the railroad and resend another email to them hoping to get a response. But in the meantime, as I've done for the last few weeks, I'll remind everybody, the grade crossing hotline, if you have an issue with the railroad crossing over here on 517 headed west, the number is 1-800-848-8715. The crossing is FM 517. The identifier is MP 27.13 DOT 748-278X. I'm sure everybody wrote that down. Anyway, but that is all I have, and good to see everybody.
All right, thank you. Next, Councilman Decker.
Good evening. Welcome to everybody. With the pollen out, it's everywhere. It's high. Be careful. I got it. Thank you.
All right, Councilman Brantley.
Good evening. Thanks everybody for being here. Thanks everybody that's online. Appreciate it. I've just got a couple of things today. The first is I want to encourage everyone to come out to the Dickinson Little Italy Festival of Galveston County. Will take place this Saturday, March 18th, from 10:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. at the City Hall facility grounds. It's a family-friendly event with the purpose of honoring and exhibiting Sicilian, Italian customs, traditions, food, music, contests, games, and culture. If you need any more information, you can go to DickinsonItalianFestival.org. So, and encourage everybody to come out to that. It's a great event. It's always a lot of fun. So, the other thing I have for this evening is, as always, the tradition of recognizing someone from staff for an excellent job and a job well done. This week, I would like to recognize Miss Anna Earps. She does a phenomenal job. A lot of her efforts go unnoticed. I know a lot of her efforts seem underappreciated, but they are very, very much appreciated, the work that you do. I know that you shoulder a lot of burden, both from administration and council, but you also shoulder a lot of burden in answering and responding to questions and requests from citizens. So you did an excellent job, and thank you very much for everything that you do. With that, that's all I've got. Thanks, Mayor.
All right, thank you. Councilman Wilson.
Good evening to everybody and whoever's listening on their phone, whatever. I'd just like to send condolences now for tonight to the Julie Johnston Robinson family. Julie passed away, I think it was Sunday. She was Dickinson city administrator. I know she was here before I got here. I think she got on board about 2006, and she was here till 2017. Long battle with cancer. Excuse me, a lot of guts with that lady. I don't know too many people that could handle it that long. Anyway, my condolences to the family. So that's it.
All right, thank you. Councilwoman Simpson.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Hi, everyone, and welcome to our meeting tonight. We appreciate you joining us in person and online. Happy spring break. I hope you get to have some time to relax with your loved ones. Over the weekend, I had the pleasure of visiting the Dickinson Bayou Ranch. I was invited by Ms. Schuyler to see what it's all about and to tour the grounds. It's a lovely facility, and it will be the location of the Black Tie Texas fundraising event benefiting the Bayou Animal Services on April 29th. There's going to be live music, barbecue, art, and more. For more information, visit the Bayou Friends Forever Facebook page or the Bayou Animal Services page. Yesterday, myself and the Rotary board members had a special ceremony where we unveiled the gift of a bench from the Rotary Club to M.I. Lewis, commemorating the partnership between these organizations and the impact that M.I. Lewis has had on our community. Rotary Club has supported the M.I. Lewis Social Service Center for more than 30 years. This bench is the first of 4 total benches that will be installed around Dickinson to serve those who frequent those areas, as well as those who are waiting for their local bus pickup. Stay tuned for more information on these upcoming benches. I want to let you know about a couple of events that we have coming up. On March 25th, the Rivers, Lakes, Bays, and Bayous Trash Bash is a cleanup of Dickinson and its areas that impact our waterways. Register yourself or a group and help join in the citywide cleanup of our beautiful community. We will meet at the Highway 3 boat ramp. Register on site beginning at 8 a.m. and the cleanup time will take place between 9 and 12. You can also pre-register online at trashbash.org. The Dickinson Historical Society is hosting the annual Wine and Roses fundraising event on April 21st at the Dickinson Railroad Depot. Help join the efforts to preserve and educate, celebrate, and support at their annual gala. Learn more about tickets and sponsorships on their website at dickinsonhistoricalsociety.org. Finally, I want to take a moment to offer my condolences to the family of former Dickinson City Administrator Julie Johnson Robinson. Miss Julie was the very first person to get me involved in the city of Dickinson years and years ago. Her contributions to Dickinson will never be forgotten. She is a friend of my family, and I'm truly sorry for the loss of this wonderful person. I will greatly miss the outstanding cookies that she would make. Rest in peace, Julie. Thank you.
All right, Councilman Simpson.
Thank you, Mayor, Council, citizens, city staff, and those watching online as well. Welcome. I would like to extend condolences to the family of Joyce V. Hobbs, longtime Dickinson resident. Her services were on Saturday. And I would also like to extend condolences to the family of Julie Johnston Robinson as well. She's one of the first people I met when I moved to the city and started getting involved in city service. And I ask that you keep her mother, Anita Laffey, in prayer. When she informed me that Julie had passed, I thought about it, and she just lost her husband like 6 months earlier. So to lose your husband and your daughter in less than a year's time is definitely hard. There is no blueprint for grief. And so my thoughts and prayers are with them. I also would like to reiterate about the Dickinson Little Italy Festival as well, March 18th, this coming Saturday at City Hall. Thank you, Mayor. Those are my comments.
All right, thank you, and good evening, everyone. We're glad that you're here. I'd like to echo the comments of everyone else, and also pass my condolences on to our former city administrator's family. Unlike others, I didn't have the opportunity to work with her. She was no longer here when I came into public office, but I know that many people thought very highly of her, do think very highly of her, and the city is fortunate she was here. And thank you for all your efforts. And I join everyone in saying to please keep her family in your thoughts and prayers. Also want to encourage everyone to come out to Little Italy Festival. It's always a great time. It'll be fantastic. Hopefully the weather will hold like it's been. I don't know about that, but it'll be good. Also to reiterate, at the end of April, keep that black tie event for By Animal Services on your calendar, on your radar. We'd love to see you out there doing great things over there. Fantastic volunteers, and you're going to be able to see the fruits of their work. So I hope that people will join us out there. And that's really all that I have for my comments this evening. So we'll move on to item 5B, the city manager update. I'll turn it over to our city manager.
Mayor, council, thank you very much. First, I'm going to take a moment to offer my condolences to Julie Johnson Robinson's family as well. I'll never forget that the very first person who reached out to me after I was announced publicly as the city manager for the city of Dickinson was Julie herself. Known her through the Texas City Management Association for years before joining the city of Dickinson. She always was a ball of energy, always somebody that not just I appreciated, but also someone that was a mentor to not just myself, but I do want to say that, to relay the message from our association, she was a mentor to many, many city managers around the state of Texas. And so losing her has been a very heartfelt in the city management community, because she was there for a lot of people through hard times, the good and the bad in our organization. People who had their ups and downs, she was always there for them and always found time for everybody in our association. So just want to take a moment to appreciate her in this time. So next up, we have, I was wanting to have our Water Street update. I know it's been a little while, and we have some great things to discuss. I'm going to have Daniel Blanco come up if he could come on up. Are you here, sir? Thank you very much. And he promised me that he would have something as entertaining as a wrestling promo from Randy Savage. So good luck.
Appreciate that, Theo. Good evening, council, mayor. Yes, so this is a pretty near and dear project, not only to me, but to the city of Dickinson. So it's only appropriate to give the community an opportunity to take a glimpse behind the curtain from time to time and just make sure that, we're doing right by the city and some of its valuable real estate. So a little historical context, we entered into a performance agreement with the city, at the Economic Development Corporation in late 2021. Through the pandemic, through all kinds of commercial development craze, high construction cost, the Fed raising interest rates extremely high in a short amount of time, it's really challenging to come up with a target that not only is viable, but meets the needs of the community around us. So what I have up here today is kind of V1, version 1, if you will, of the journey we sought out back in late August of 2021. And the idea and the goal behind this land plan was primary job focused, utilizing the real estate to its fullest capacity and most dense possibility. And we've augmented this through a number of iterations. And the next slide is what about 18 months of city staff challenging us to do as much as we possibly can. The EDC, through their efforts, repurposing a grant that they had earmarked for a public market into a parking facility to show their support for the project, and us being able to really utilize this space for what we think is right for the community. So some of the components, I'm going to kind of just take you through a brief programming. We'll go clockwise, starting with the townhome section in the top left-hand corner. That was always intended to be some low-hanging fruit. It made sense for that part of the geography of the site that segments or it starts to segue into a more residential development. And it was a good way to utilize some difficult topos by building some condominium style, beach house style townhomes, if you will, off the ground. That project has taken off. We've got 4 of the homes under contract right now. 4 homes under construction, 3 under contract. And we're looking to break ground on an additional 4 over the course of the next few months. That project alone is about $3.5–4 million of assessed value by the time we're fully built out. And that particular project came with a little small community pocket park for the residents of the townhome section. A bulkhead has since been installed. We've seen a couple of boat parades through that common area park, and it's been a good change of pace for the stagnicity of that development in that area. Moving over to Plan East, there's a parking garage, which I'm going to speak briefly on, that has really been the catalyst for the rest of this development. So I mentioned through the efforts of the EDC, through Cortland, through the board, through their support, we were able to secure funding through the EDA grant for this public parking garage. We've sized that garage to equal the grant size, and 239 cars we're able to fit into a parking facility that would be open to the public that drives the density to the rest of the site. That securement happened approximately 3 to 4 months ago, and it was a pretty pivotal milestone for us to really be able to hone in and lock in the rest of this land plan. So continue moving around the corner. You've got in light blue, 30,000 square foot office space, currently speculative office space, could turn into some medical space, but it is a good land use that complements the rest of this retail, restaurant, entertainment district that we are trying to create. One of the things as a Dickinson citizen that actually lives here, we all know how much retail leakage we have, and the ability to go have a good opportunity to eat and sit down and bring the family out and enjoy the outside is few and far between. Well, oftentimes we see ourselves leaving the League City or even going to Galveston, and this is a very good piece of the puzzle here that we think we can really drive some, not only the opposite of retail leakage, but being able to get some commuters that run through this city to really stop and embrace Dickinson. So we were very proud to be able to fit in as many food and beverage and retail spots as we did. And again, through the efforts of the EDC and being able to supply the parking garage is, it's kudos to them to be able to do that so that we can get this density. two other components that are right there in the middle of the property. In light pink is a boutique hotel. If you don't mind, Jerry, going back to the original, we had several different ideas of a hotel pad site around this property, and through 10, 12, 13 iterations, this thing has transformed from a 3-star, middle of the road, extended stay hotel into the ability to really look at something grander in a boutique style, something unique that gives its own signature to not only this area, but to the city of Dickinson. And so we're, if you don't mind going back, we've been able to really vet through the possibilities of what we can do as far as a hotel site. It's complemented by a 25,000 square foot event space. All of these sizes and shapes are subject to change as we continue to fight rising construction costs and interest rates. But this program right now is what's been under our microscope for the last 18 months. So here to answer questions. Wanted to give everybody an update that we have been working through our extended consultants and contractors and gathering the information. We get one chance at this site. We want to make sure we do it right, and we have a lot of respect for the development process to rush anything. So while it seems like we may be quiet and not a lot going on, we've diligently been working on the right program and have tried our best to keep not only the community, but definitely keep staff and the Economic Development Corporation privy as to what our program changes and needs are.
Does anyone have any questions? I just want to say, I think it's really come along. You can really tell the evolution of it. I'm very excited. And when I talk to residents about this development, they're very excited to have something that can kind of be a showpiece for the community right at the entranceway. I think y'all have done really good work. So I'm very excited.
Thank you.
Councilman
Thank you.
Brantley, did you have a?
I did. Daniel, I'll kind of put you on the spot because I know everybody sitting behind you is probably going to ask one of us in this room.
Sure.
But in a perfect world, what would be your, in a perfect world, what would be your anticipated, I guess, construction date or what would you desire, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, no on the spot whatsoever. I think it's important for everybody to understand the viability of what we're all looking at. I'll take it back, not to give you a long-winded answer, Mr. Brantley, but I think some of the context is important. Our goal as a developer is to dream first. And I mean, as our development firm, and I think that's why we were chosen for this project. It's to start at the dream. What are the needs? What are the wants? And then figure out viability. Whereas I think the traditional approach is, what can we do at that site today, given the cost today and the market today? So to answer your question, we are underwriting specifically this program currently. This needs help. It needs financial help. There's no way about it. In order to make something like this go off the ground, it needs assistance from the city of Dickinson. And through conversations with staff and being able to engage with the community, it's a project that has garnered a lot of support. So our goal from a timeline perspective is to hone in the financial needs, the financial support for this by no later than the end of the month, and start having those conversations at a more succinct level of details of what is actually going to be what it's going to take. The process of striking those agreements and getting all of the mechanisms in place is not short. It takes some time to do that. And you're really not able to start construction planning until those mechanisms are in place. So if we're looking at a crystal ball, I see the next 4 to 5 months setting up those mechanisms, making sure that every one of them is possible. This is something that the city wants and needs. And then really after those agreements and mechanisms are in place, getting after about a 6 to 8 month design process. And then I think we could, say that we're virtually shovel ready for infrastructure. So a long way of saying a year and a half. But again, we have too much respect for the process to rush it. So this goes through several. You guys are going to see this project a lot more frequently in the next couple of months because we're there now to really ask those questions.
I appreciate your answer. And I'm glad that you took the long way around instead of taking the short route, because I think a lot of folks need to hear that you have been at this for 2 years now, almost 3. And so when you started down this road, money was cheap, and it's not cheap anymore. And so I know that there are a lot of hurdles, but just based on our conversations and feedback from our economic development director, I know that you have maintained your commitment, and I appreciate that. So,
Yes.
Councilman Linton?
Yeah, I'd like to say that ever since I heard about this, I've been excited about it. I think it's going to be a good addition to the city. Watching the evolution of this, it seems to improve each time I see it. Only question I had was a design-related one. You're probably like this. There are the event center that's listed. It's in pretty close proximity to a second event center, which I believe is the Water Grove Event Center. Is that going to be, from a design perspective, provide any sort of saturation, having 2 event centers in such close proximity?
This may sound condescending, but I mean this when I say this. There's food and beverage next to food and beverage. And so the idea is complementary, not competitive.
Okay.
This is a significantly larger event space. It gets labeled as an event space, as does Water Grove. But what we're trying to attract, who we're trying to attract, are different venue styles. It's the things that they can't do that we are trying to provide, hence the size of it. We're approximately 3 times the size of their location. And I can go on and on about why we chose this site for this event space. But the fact of the matter is it's needed. There's a lot of galas. There's a lot of the Dickinson ISD. Everybody doesn't have a space. This community doesn't have a space to be able to house that many people at one time. And we know that the market's there for it. And so I mean it when I say we're going to complement them. We'll be their best friend and vice versa, because we offer something they don't and they offer something we don't. But it's normal to have in close proximity similar land uses.
Okay. I appreciate it.
All right. Councilman Wilson?
Excuse me, Daniel, with the city letting the contract for the start of the parking garage, would you say that was a pivotal point of getting this project to actually start pulling itself together?
Oh, absolutely. And it was a brutal wait, and it wasn't by no fault of the EDC. Federal government takes a long time to do things. But yeah, I mean, when we go through the development process, especially in commercial, step 1 is understand your parking. And then you can figure out what you can fit. And so, without a 239 parking spot garage, this land plan doesn't look anything like this. It's a third of the size because you have to use surface parking in order to get those parking spots. Structured parking is extremely expensive when you look at from a private sector. It just doesn't necessitate, or I'm sorry, it doesn't warrant the rents that we can get and the leases that you can get in this particular market. So it was paramount in order to get to where we are today to really understand it. And as of 3-4 months ago, that was really our green light to understand how big we can dream with this project.
Thank you.
Anything else?
That's it.
Okay. Well, Daniel, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Only final comments to make on the Water Street project. The original iteration of the project, which is actually even before the one that's presented here, was actually more of an office park setup. So it didn't even have a lot of these uses here. one of the things that I was going to say is I just want to commend Ream companies and as well as William Cole and Nelson Partners, because Daniel, I pushed back on some of the development design work and said, hey, I really would like to see some things change. They've responded with a couple of iterations. You saw the previous one. Now you're looking at the newest one, and I really just want to take a moment to commend Daniel and his crew on really answering the call whenever it was like, hey, I want something that has a little more walkability, a little more interactivity with the water itself throughout the development. Really want to upgrade the hotel, so we are finalizing some of those things, and so we will be bringing to council in the near future a development agreement that would bring this to life, as Daniel brought up. So, thank you, Daniel. All right. Next up, we have, I don't know if you've heard, but it's almost summertime. It's almost that time again for some internships. I don't know if y'all remember last year we had 8 students. And so I think Jeree has a little something for us to tease summer internship program.
Would I recommend the intern program? Yes. But at first I was really iffy about it because this was my senior summer and this is a big commitment. But I learned to really love it and love the staff here. They're all amazing people and you get really close with your group. At least I did. And they're really fun.
And maybe you can too.
Maybe you can too. But I did cut my fingers a lot filing papers and working with box cutters. Just letting you know.
I'm Draven Sun. I'm the IT intern.
I'm Mallory, communication intern.
Hi, I'm Ray Giffey, and I'm the library.
Hi, I'm Melissa Duspick, and I'm the admin intern.
Intern 1, intern 2.
She has been serving as the planning and zoning intern for 6 to 8 weeks now. Is that about right? A couple weeks left, but she's going to present this first item for us. Can you get the screen, Santa?
What I like most is making the connections. Like, I didn't expect to get close to anyone here, if I'm being honest, but I'm really close with the interns now and with the staff. I didn't expect to really form any personal connections, but I do love it.
You get a lot of experience and you get paid.
Nice.
On a road out, like, the city is really expanding and doing well. And they have a lot of good programs and everything. One being the intern program that's expanding and running everything. It's good. Not gonna lie, we're doing great.
There you go, guys. Proof that, they're coming back. Well, maybe not all of these, but, we'll be bringing a whole new crop of them. So I'm very excited to be able to be a part of that. So thank you, Jeree, for putting that together for us. Next up, I wanted to kind of go over a few of our infrastructure projects that we have ongoing. Number one, wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about our as of right now, we're working on West Gum Bayou projects. That's why you're seeing a lot of the work on California being done, as well as Owens Drive. Right now, Owens Drive is closed. We're pushing very hard on the contract to be done so that on Monday morning, when school's back in session again, that they'll be reopened. California should be reopened at the end of this week. End of this week, California will be open. So hopefully we'll have both of those open by the end of the one by the end of the week of Friday, and the other one by Sunday, because we're going to push that contractor really hard. That will be pretty much the major portions of the project. We'll be working toward the punch list and closing out of the West Gum project. Just so you know, if you remember our Hughes Road project, approximately $49.7 million, of which $49.2 million is federal funding through the that's going to be administered through the General Land Office. As of right now, we're currently working on the 90% submittal of that project so that we can move forward in that phase as well. So we're near the 90% submittal to the state and feds to make sure that we're in compliance. Next up, if you remember, one of the last great acts of Councilman King's tenure was working really hard on upping the amount of method of distribution funding we were to receive. And through his efforts and working with other smaller municipalities to kind of keep a much larger city at bay that I won't name, Houston, was trying to take more of that money from us. And so he worked really hard to up us from what we were going to get was about a $7 million allocation. And they've got it up to $15.2 million for flood mitigation project. So what we have identified is a Moore's Addition siphon project that will take us to Benson Bayou. Our expectation is that, just so you know, which we're very happy with, applications were due on January 9th. We submitted it back on December 20th. And we received our RFI from HGAC. So what that means is that now we actually are in the next phase. They've basically approved our project, saying that this is a good project for the amount of money. Yes, you can begin moving forward with your request for interest. So the expectation is that the contract will be awarded sometime in the summer so that we can begin the siphon project. And for those of you to understand what the siphon project is that Moore's Addition is cut by a pipeline. The natural flow, the geology, if you will, the watershed wants to go west. The problem is the pipeline is too shallow. In fact, in some parts, maybe as little as 3 inches of cover dirt, remain, but it's so high that the water actually stops, does not flow back toward Benson Bayou. And so it just stops and is a major flood hazard for the entire Moore's Addition. So what we're talking about doing is having a siphon put in so that we flow the water west. It collects up and siphons under the pipeline going toward Benson Bayou, put in 2 major drainage canals that are upgraded to Benson Bayou, and then begin the process of actually upgrading and dredging Benson Bayou to handle that extra capacity of water itself. There's going to be a phase 2 of that project that we're looking at for some funding, and that's going to be an HMGP, Texas Department of Emergency Management grant, which would be to continue that project all the way down Benson Bayou to Dickinson Bayou as a dredging project. So that would be a continuation of that project. We have applied for a $7.6 million grant there. We're talking about, to give you an idea, it would be about 3,000 feet of channel widening as well as 65 acre feet of detention for the water. So it's a pretty significant amount of detention that would be added to the city's system. So one of the good things that we did receive our RFI for this already, meaning that they like the project, but we have not been granted the funding yet. This one has a little bit different application process where HGAC kind of gave us the money up front and then we had to apply for the money that we were awarded. This one here is more competitive in the sense that we have to put up a great project. They'll give us an RFI and then they will decide if the project will be funded or not. So it's a little bit different because they're different agencies that administer those. One of the other things is we are also looking at, so basically between the two projects, at the end of the day, our goal is to add 6,800 feet of channel widening on Benson Bayou and a grand total of 140 acre feet, which is a massive amount of water detention. You're talking about each acre foot is about 330,000 gallons per acre foot. You know, so if you have 140 acre feet, it's a pretty massive amount. Also, we have, as part of our American Rescue Plan Act funded project, which includes not just our information technology arm, but the vast majority of the money is dealing with street projects. And so we're looking at about $4.2 million worth of improvements on 44th, 45th, Illinois, Caroline Street, along with drainage improvements along those streets. We've evaluated the bids and we'll be selecting a contractor for you guys to approve probably the March 28th meeting at this point, looks like. Also, wanted to let you know that we have you guys approved a contract at the last meeting for Waller County construction. What we have in a phase one, beginning on April 1, the following streets: Victoria Street, Beatrice, Ivy, Avenue H, 42nd Street, Kansas, 39th and 37th Street as a phase one project. That will include milling up areas that need to be milled, repairing the subgrade. We're going to be adding about 3 inches of limestone base, compacting that, and having it set to proper grade. Once we have the prime coat put on, we're going to put about a 2.5 inch layer of asphalt over the top, compacted to 2 inches for all of those streets. We will have a phase two. We're kind of finalizing phase two of those street projects, and I'll be bringing that to you guys probably for the first meeting in April, and that will probably be beginning for the June 1 through August phase of our paving for the summer. So just want to give you an update on that. Our next thing I was going to bring up to you guys is that I wanted to let you know that we have a project that kind of came out of nowhere. As you remember, we have a mobility plan that we're kind of still working on to present to council. I would take a moment and thank Council Member Simpson for being a part of that and has been involved in our calls. We're highlighting 8 projects that would significantly improve pedestrian safety throughout the city, and it really starts from Ray Holbrook Park all the way to the east feeder on I-45. We are as we're creating these projects and working through and justifying the need for them, we have received the opportunity. We have had the opportunity to bring funding forward or apply for funding for 3 of the 8 projects before we're even done with the plan, which is pretty phenomenal. The most recent one, and I have a list of supporters that I have to thank. One of the projects, which was going to be probably harder to fund because it's not near a school, although it would be a part of the system to walk to school. A lot of these projects would be funded through the Safe Routes to School route. But one portion of it, which is dealing with Dietz Road, kind of to I-45, would not be so easy to score. So we've had an opportunity to work with Congressman Weber, and he has asked for us to put together a this community project that he would like to look at it and really look into the merits of our mobility plan. And so very happy to say that we're bringing to him a $4.8 million mobility plan for pedestrian and bikeability that tie into the bus routes that currently exist up on Dietz Road. And we received, as of now, support from Baytran, Commissioner Holmes, Commissioner Giusti, Keep Dickinson Beautiful, the school district, thank you, Dickinson Management District, as well as Gulf Coast Transit District. And we received all of that support, those support letters in a matter of days. So I wanted to say thank you to each and every one of them for their support for the project that we're sending forward to our congressman. Other than that, I believe that is all that we have. So thank you.
All right. Thank you. We'll move on to item 6, public comments. Members of the public are invited to give comments at this time, lasting not longer than 3 minutes. Comments may be general in nature or may address a specific agenda item and should be directed to the entire council, not individual members of council or staff. Any speaker making personal attacks or using vulgar or profane language shall forfeit his or her remaining time and shall be seated. In compliance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, the city council may not deliberate. We have one comment for at this point, and that is going to be Mr. Daniel Zeke.
Howdy, y'all. So the last time I was here, I was on COVID orders with the National Guard. I'm still with the National Guard. I grew up on Rosewood. We moved here in 1994. My dad still lives there. I talked to the guy who actually replaced the road because they were fixing my neighbor's sewage something. And the end of my road, the water district decided to destroy because the droughts this past year. That was October. It's messing with, I'm on Royal Oaks Drive. And then Rosewood and Royal Oaks have the same issue. I know you guys are getting funding and you fix roads and whatnot. But when I was a little kid, my road was messed up for probably 10 years until they fixed it. And the same thing is happening 20 years later. Now, the end of my street, apparently the water district is supposed to do it, but then we've talked to them and they claim that they need a whole 3 yards or 6 yards or whatever of asphalt before they're going to do any repairs. The city doesn't want to deal with it because it's too much. It cuts into their funding. I don't know. But I'm not going to talk to the water district. I'm going to talk to you guys because, you know, it's something simple. And then y'all got a lot of other big projects, but thought I'd bring it up because it's now been 6 months. The rainy season's kind of over with. So, yeah. So, anyway, that's it. I just wanted to let you guys know. And I know there's plenty of other bigger issues, but hey, who can I say? But, you know, bring it up to you guys. So,
Okay, thanks. Appreciate you. All right, we'll move on to go chase him. Okay. We'll move on to item 7, consent agenda. The following items are considered routine by the city council and will be enacted by one motion. There will not be a separate discussion on these items unless a council member requests, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and discussed after the consent agenda. There's been a request to remove items 7D and 7E. So do we have a motion to approve the rest of the consent agenda?
Move to approve.
A second.
There's a motion to approve by Councilman Simpson, a second by Councilman Linton. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 7D, consideration and possible action to approve a resolution of the City Council of the City of Dickinson, Texas, approving an interlocal agreement regarding the Education Service Center Region 10 Retirement Asset Management Services, RAMS, employer governing body resolution, and authorizing the city manager or designee to execute any and all documents associated with such interlocal agreement. Is there a motion to approve?
Second.
Motion approved by Councilman Brantley, a second by Councilman Simpson. Discussion. Councilman Linton?
I had a question. I think I may have already answered the question that I had earlier. Just needed some clarification on the agreement and its intent. I assume this is a modification of the city employees' retirement plan?
This is, so right now we have a 457 plan and this would be changing the administrator. We had some customer service issues with our current 457 plan administration. And so we were moving over to this one based on the HR.
For the city?
Yes,
of
for the
Dickinson
city employees,
retirement plan.
yes.
All right.
All right, that's not TMRS. That's the totally voluntary deferred compensation plan.
All right, any other questions? Hearing none, we'll take this to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 7E, consideration and possible action to approve a resolution of the City Council of the City of Dickinson, Texas, approving an expenditure of funds by the Dickinson Economic Development Corporation regarding the purchase of sale or real property.
Move to approve.
There's a motion by Councilman Simpson to approve, a second by Councilman Wilson. Any discussion? Councilman Lynn?
That question was also answered earlier
Okay.
by Theo.
We'll take this to a vote. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Move on to item 8. Item 8A, consideration and possible action to approve a resolution of the City Council of the City of Dickinson, Texas, authorizing the award of a contract for electrical services at Ray Holbrook Park. We have 2 people signed up to speak this. Well, it's got 1. So it says Dickinson Girls Softball. Is there who specifically? Is there 1 speaker or 2? There's 1. Okay, gotcha. If you would please just come up and give your name and your address, please.
Hello. I don't think I
Allie,
need
you
to
don't
talk.
have to be shy.
I'm Lindsay Costa. My address is 5509 Winding Brook Drive, Dickinson, Texas, 77539. Let me get out my little timer so I can stay on track. Hold on. Thank you all for tonight. I loved being a part of this tonight. My daughter's here. She's a softball player. She's really happy that I'm recognizing her right now, Allie. The council has been very helpful to Dickinson Girls Softball, where I serve on the board. I'm the sponsorship coordinator. I'm also on the Parks and Rec Committee. I was appointed by a council member here. I know we're not supposed to be individual. Forgive me if I break any rules. This is my first time.
You're good. You're good.
Okay. After the city's been a great friend to Dickinson Girls Softball, we've been awarded $20,000 or more since COVID for redoing our fields and getting things up to speed. We've been working with council people and people in the city to update our fields. The biggest thing at Ray Holbrook Park, which is currently the county's, is that we don't have lights and electricity running out there. And there was a proposal. We've been in talks with council about that proposal not moving forward, simply because it wouldn't provide us adequate lighting. So again, we're really grateful to the city. They are a sponsor of Dickinson Girls Softball. Thank you all so much. And we just want the best proposal moving forward for Dickinson Girls Softball so that our girls can play after dark. And whatever the city comes up with a contract for that, we'd be in full support of that. And I think I covered everything. Again, we're just really grateful for the city being sponsors, being our allies, and we just want adequate lighting for the girls. And I think council might have an update on this current item. But that's about all I have to share. So I appreciate you guys.
All right. Thank you very much. And yes, we do. So actually, we're moving forward, but we don't need to take action on this item. I'll turn it over to the city manager to explain how we're going to proceed on this.
Yeah, sure. So after a discussion with the city attorney, one of the things is that there's a park use agreement of the Dickinson Girls Softball that kind of allows us to maybe move at a faster clip than going through this whole interlocal agreement if we were to be the ones to provide the electrical service. So what we're going to do is I'll be working with the city attorney. I'll be working directly with Dickinson Girls Softball so we can get that get to work a lot faster, because we're going to have Dickinson Girls Softball work directly with the county through their park use agreement, and then we will use the funding and have it invoiced to us in that way.
Correct. So just to clarify, we're moving ahead. We're going to get with y'all to work with the contractor, and then they'll invoice us, and then we'll pay for the work, for the lights.
Mayor.
If that makes sense. Okay. Councilman Simpson.
Yeah, I was just going to reiterate, just so we're clear, we are going to support the lights. But if we do it this way, there are additional legal hurdles we would have to clear.
We specifically do not currently have an interlocal agreement between the city and county for Ray Holbrook Park, but this girls softball does. So we're just going to use their legal mechanism to do it.
And so that way we can just cut the check and get it done instead of waiting for the attorneys from the county and getting it signed. That's kind of been the hurdle, because it would have been nice to have this done before the season even started, but we have to work with the county to get that done, and we didn't get it back, and they have to work through it. So this should get it done more quickly. So at least you'll have them in this season while we get started. So Okay.
And just to
Councilman
clarify what
Bradley.
Lindsay was talking about, sorry. Just to clarify, so that council knows, we received a proposal for lighting of the fields. And I've been working with one of the guys from girls softball who helps a lot with their maintenance. And once he and I kind of reviewed the proposal, we realized that what that contractor had proposed would cause too much shadowing on the fields. So we asked another contractor who is more versed in athletic lighting to provide a proposal. And he was working on a light study this morning and was trying to put, he actually just sent me a text a minute ago. They'll have it to us late tonight, but I think he's got a better handle on what we actually need over there. So, you know, I will get that to girls softball and to UTHEO to review as soon as I receive it. So, I also want to mention while we're talking about it, we are still waiting, and so that you guys know, we're still waiting on a couple of the fencing estimates. I know I came out and was able to walk with Allie and Justin last week to look at a lot of the fencing needs. And so I've talked to a couple of folks and I'm waiting on some numbers on that. And I know that Alexis, who is awesome, is still working on the drainage stuff out there. And he's got some ideas. And once we do get the agreement together so that we can have equipment out there, he's got some really good ideas about installing some drainage in a way that will raise some of the areas and provide more accessibility and mobility through the park areas. So just kind of an update of the overall things that are going on out there. And Allie, I apologize, but I will get you, we'll get the information for the yellow fence. I just remembered out when I was out there the other day that we hadn't talked about the yellow fencing cap around the field. So we'll get that and get that done.
All right. Well, we have no action to take on that item, so it'll get handled elsewhere. Councilman Lynn?
I had one thing. So I'm sure this has already been discussed at some level, but why is the city, and I do support it, by the way, make that perfectly clear. I don't want to come across as Scrooge. But why is the city paying for modification to a county-owned park?
Well, I think the basic reason is that, well, number one, I'm maybe at some point we'll actually be able to have that be a city park. And we'll have to bring that to council and discuss it, but there's some desire. The other one is it just hasn't happened before. Just hasn't gotten done.
All right. But I do support it. Want to make sure I don't come across as
Understood.
Scrooge. Gotcha.
Well, and I would like to say out loud
Sure.
that I've been working with softball for a while. And it's long time that the city supported youth athletics as a whole, and specifically girls softball. So quite frankly, I would say because it's the right thing to do.
All right. With that, we'll move on to our next item. We have no executive session for this evening, and so no action items from that session. Move on to item 11, adjournment.
Moved it. Second.
Motion to adjourn by Councilman Wilson, a second by Councilman Simpson. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned at 8:03 p.m.